What the? You spent thousands on a high-end model of gear and even more on that vintage spec bass, or your Attitude bass. Thanks, Billy. So why does it suddenly sound dull, muffled, and lifeless? Like someone's thrown a blanket over my amp. The culprit isn't your EQ, nor is it your cab sim. It's an invisible setting called input impedance, and if you aren't checking it, your modeler might be killing your tone before it even begins. Let's check it out. I'm Twistie, and here at TwistieOnBass, we turn rig chaos into confident clarity, helping you understand why your rig isn't necessarily giving you the tone you want. Today we're going to dive into the guitar impedance, or the input Z setting, which is the most overall tone shaping tool in your digital rig. It changes the feel and the frequency response of your bass even before a single bit of digital processing happens. You show up to a gig, you plug in, and your bass just lacks that clank and sparkle you're expecting, giving you that feeling of tone uncertainty. What have I done? What's happened? It sounded great at home. You try to fix it with EQ, but it still feels spongy and slow. The problem is electrical loading, and it's happening at the very first jack on your signal train, right after your bass. When you plug your bass or a guitar into any amp, pedal, audio interface, or a modeler like a Helix, the first thing your signal sees is that device's input impedance. And this is referred to as guitar in Z. If you've got an audio interface, you might find that it's got a dedicated guitar input, which often has a label, guitar in Z. And on the Helix, because it's designed specifically for bass and guitar, the inputs are by default guitar in Z inputs. Now, technically, it's the electrical resistance that loads your instrument's pickups. And why does this matter? Because the pickups on a passive bass are high impedance inductive sources, and their tone is greatly influenced by the load that's placed upon them. A higher impedance, measured in ohms, presents a lighter load, allowing the pickup to deliver a stronger signal with far more full high frequency content. So the full range of the pickup's output can be heard, whereas a lower input impedance loads the pickup more heavily, and it dampens its output and rolls off the highs. A bit like this. Played by itself, it sounds okay. But if I increase the impedance, more of that frequency is coming through. It sounds more sparkly. The effect of using a lower impedance is very much like turning down your tone knob or using a really, really long guitar lead. The high end gets attenuated, or cut off, and the overall signal level can drop a bit. So what's the best setting to avoid this, and how do we set it? When I used to buy Miracle tone presets before realizing the Miracle was actually learning the signal chain, not buying someone else's signal chain, there were times where one preset sounded fantastic, but when I created another similar one, I thought my pickups were dying. But it turns out I just had my modeler's input set to the wrong resistance on that copy. Now, the engineers at Line 6 have made the input variable on the Line Z. Some interfaces will have it fixed. If you plug into a real amplifier, like my MarkBass amps, they are at 1 mega ohm as the input. But the Line 6 guys have made it variable so that you can adjust that input depending on the outcome you're looking for and the device you're connecting it, or the next plug block that you're plugging it in. Now, in the analog world, 1 mega ohm is the gold standard for bass amps. It presents a light load to your pickups, preserving the high-end sparkle and the natural resonance that makes the bass sound open. So on your modeler, setting your line input to 1 mega ohm is the safest way to ensure your bass sounds exactly like it was intended to and replicates a typical amp input. As I said, on my MarkBass amp, the input is set to 1 mega ohm. On an original Ampeg SVT, it's as high as 5.6 mega ohm. So definitely keep it at the higher end. Setting it to between 230 and 136K can be useful to introduce a minor tonal smoothing. You might want to choose something in this range if 1 mega ohm sounds a bit too bright or harsh with your pickups, or if you've got a tweeter equipped cab and it's sounding a bit harsh for you. For example, if your passive bass is very zingy, then 230K can shave off a touch of that extreme highs in a way you might not even notice except in an A/B test. So this is now running at 230K. Still sounds bright, but a little bit of the top end zinginess I had before has gone. Dropping to 136, it'll be more noticeable. So while you could use these as tone filters, I would recommend using a higher value to get the full signal to come through from your pickups and let your pickups do what they're designed by the manufacturer to do, and then using an EQ in your signal chain for the shaping. If you do want some of that flat wound P-bass old school Ampeg sound, then maybe running it around 230, 136 might give you that bit of older tone. But again, I'd prefer to get all the signal through, all the frequencies through, and then EQ it down the track. And dropping it down to something like 22K gives you that wet blanket, as if I dropped the tone control right off. The bass feels lifeless. It doesn't have that punch that I really wanted out of it. It's not the tone that I was getting in my head. Now, if you play a passive bass, even if it's a high output bass like this Attitude one is with the Relentless pickups, you are highly sensitive to this input setting. As you heard, dropping that impedance down to 22K or even lower to 10K, then that high end vanishes as if I'd rolled off the tone knob. If you're an active player though, you're sort of in the clear. The onboard preamp of your bass is designed to be a load invariant, so it will buffer the signal and make you mostly immune to the changes. So what it's saying is that the preamp on the bass will adjust to whatever's being sent to it from the input jack, and it will deal with that regardless. But watch out if the battery fails and it moves back to a passive pickup, then you're back into that tone challenge. So my recommendation is to keep your rig consistent. I would recommend using a default of 1 mega ohm for both active and passive basses. So as a default, just turn that on for each of your presets and keep it consistent. Then you don't have to worry, was it on this preset? Was it not on this preset? It's always the same. And as I said, then depending on the bass you're using, the preset you're using, you can then adjust that through EQ, tone controls in your amp, etc. Most modelers, specifically the Line 6 brand of modelers, the HX Stomp, the Floor LT, etc., they have an auto setting which matches the impedance to the first block in your signal chain. That impedance is set whether that first block is turned on or turned off. Because they model the components rather than cloning them, Line 6 does an amazing job of modeling the input impedance of each real component that you put on your signal chain. So in the auto setting is great for the older model of fuzz pedal that needs a low impedance. Some fuzz pedals are set to require an input of or have a loading of 22K on them. And if you want to match your bass to that input to get a realistic fuzz tone, for example, then either remembering to set it for 22 or setting it to auto and letting the Helix determine it based on that first block gives you that authentic fuzz sound, if that's what you're looking for. The trap, though, is that if you bypass that fuzz and go back to a clean tone, the input is still set to what the fuzz pedal was expecting, which is the 22K. So suddenly your clean tone is then dark and muddy and blankety again. And you're left wondering what happened. A way around this, again, is set it to 1 mega ohm, allow the bass to go to the interface, and then the pedal might not sound as authentic as you like, or set up presets. So one has that 22K loaded model of your favorite fuzz pedal, and the next preset has it set at 1 mega ohm with no fuzz pedal in it. Bit of a workaround, but it's the best way to give you the accurate sound if you want to be at that level. For me, playing as a live rig, then I set it to 1, and the tone difference live isn't going to be that different. In a recording studio, I'll probably set it per preset, and then that gives me the accuracy I need. But live, it's too much of a hassle to remember what was on, what was off. Just play. You've rocked up to the gig or the rehearsal studio or recording studio and your bass sounds muffled. Well, don't always reach for the EQ. Check the input block first. Make sure you've got that guitar input set to the right value. Many pros, like myself, set their input Z to a fixed 1 mega ohm and just leave it at that to avoid any mid-performance surprises. It can be the difference between a rig that fights you and a rig that feels like home and comfort. Remember, your tone should be built with a plan and not by accident. So make sure you check out the links below to get free guides on how to use EQ, modulation, and a number of other effects. And if you haven't watched this video yet, check it out. Catch ya.